Alrighty, Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Where are we at today? Let's get the chat line up too at the same time. Right there. There we go. I see the chat line with no problem. We put up the bond there this morning. That's a 10-year bond. And you can see the characteristic here again. And we always try to keep it very simple and clear. When the bond is rising in price, interest rates are dropping. When the bond is dropping in price, this is a bar chart of the daily bar, of daily trading of the day. Obviously, when it's dropping like this, interest rates are rising. Okay, and then interest rates right here went down a little bit, and interest rates obviously have gone up again there, and right here a big slam down, and then that 2-day period, interest rates dropped again. That's right, it's the reverse. Everything is the reverse there. So you can see here we're off the lows of the bonds. You can see it seems to be digging in its heels somehow or another. In other words, trying to find a base in here. You can see that the last, there's a close, there's a close, there's a close, and it's just down a little bit today. So you can see for the last 3 days the bonds have been lifting up in the 10-year length. In other words, 10-year bonds. And then today they're driving them down just a little bit. Okay, so what's that got to do with the price of tea in China, as they would say? You can see it's been in the weekly sell right here for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. There's all minuses there. And then you can see at the same time the daily with those green dots joined in here on the 15th and started to lift up. And then backing off a little bit, still in the buy today. Then we go over to the dollar index, just that broad index that follows 6 currencies, and that is, what is it? It's the number one currency is the euro. That's like almost 50% of the index actually. Then it is the Japanese yen, and then from there, it's the most 6 active trading currencies in the world. And so then the second one is Japanese yen. The third is the GBP, the Great British Pound. The fourth is the Canadian dollar. The fifth is the Swiss kroner. And the sixth is the Swiss saltine or franc. And the sixth is the kroner, out of, I guess, Norway, because it's an oil nation and it has a lot of activity there. So when we go to the dollar index, let's put it up on the screen here, right there. Right there you go. You can see the dollar index has been rising, rising, and rising as the bond has been going down and losing value. And obviously then interest rates have been rising, and so that's why they buy this. Now, we pushed in for 2 days into a sell here. You see it there and there. A lot of red. We talked about this, basically went into some type of daily sell somewhere around in here with the histogram and this, as we'll show you right here. The dollar index, it was still pushing hard on the upside with a lot of plus histograms. In the last 3 days, we went into the minus for a couple days with those red dots. But being in a weekly buy down in here, you just look at it as just keeping your delta adjusted, your gamma adjusted. That's all you're really looking at. You're not, if you're going to try to trade that on an intraday basis, you know there's pressure on the product, then you would use it that way. But at the same time, you know that we're in weekly buy, so you're not going to build any position to be short. You're just going to wait until you see a signal from the weekly signal itself. And obviously the daily just keeps you in safer territory so that you're not short when it's rising. Not short. You're not long when it's descending, it's going down. So you see today it's starting to move back a little bit into the buy. You can see the histogram is just above by a 0.017, but it's jumping above, and we're in a weekly buy. So it's saying to us, well, guys and gals, out there, basically the interest rates are not coming down yet. And so as long as interest rates are firm and up in the United States in the open market, not what the Fed declares, but the open market, the bond traders, or as the Fed chairman likes to call them, the bond vigilantes, in other words, they won't follow his lead. He's cut interest rates 3/4 of a percentage point. A lot of good economists that I trust that are usually accurate and continuously on the trend, or the momentum, are saying don't cut anything. We have still not conquered inflation. But since the Fed has shown its level of irresponsibility over the last 4 years with Mr. Biden in his administration and Mrs. Yellen as the Secretary of Treasurer, they've done some of the more, let's say, inefficient things, and we saw interest rates go to all-time, I'm sorry, not interest rates, we've seen inflation go to all-time highs. And it was like, ow, that hurt. And they refused to accept it. They just kept on telling everybody, you're wrong. Just because you go into the store and you buy something and it's more expensive, that's just life. You go in and buy fuel for your machines, automobiles and so forth. It's just life. Don't take it serious. It will stop. It will go away. It's transitory. Well, that didn't work. So, in the end result is that's where we are now. We have, we have interest rates still rising. That's the dollar index right there, and so they're selling pairs trades and buying dollars. That's what it comes down to, depending on where you're at. So it makes it a little tough. It does, because you have the Federal Reserve, which is the bank of the planet now, doing things that are not positive for the average citizen. I guess that's a good way of describing it. It sounds like troopers, the ones where they kill bugs, and and they refer to all people who are involved, supporting their country, citizens. So in the end result is that it really comes down to they're not just citizens. What they are is they are not purchasers, but they're constituents, and they're normal people every day just trying to live a life. Oh, Bitcoin, $93,701 as we speak. And we'll show you Bitcoin after this, because it's pretty clear that Bitcoin is a new asset class. We've been saying this for 7 years now. And what it does is it contradicts what the federal or the central banks are doing. And so as much as Mr. Powell has lowered interest rates 3/4 of a percentage point officially, the market has done the opposite. It has raised interest rates 7/8, saying you're wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. And that's what it's come down to. Now let's go take a look at the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin. We look at it in two forms. We look at the actual Bitcoin on here. Right there, BTC. And you see right there, right now, it's trading at 93,710. And the high today is 10. It's at its high of the high. And when we light it up on the big screen, right there, like that, you see yesterday's high was $94,002.86. And you can see, obviously, it's doing the same thing as the dollar index. As the dollar was rising, so was Bitcoin, because it was running away from the government, the government's activities, let's say, their insanity. You can see it's been in a weekly buy for over 6 full weeks, staying strong. It just keeps on finding ways to go up. And we'll see, when Mr. Trump gets in office and everything starts to play out, then we'll probably start to see some, I think the cryptocurrency is a interesting tool in more than just being an adversary to the central banks across the planet. I believe that, it's cheaper to move capital, which, it's kind of a cross between being a currency being an asset that is indirectly transmitted, or let's say it's directly transmitted to a buyer and seller instead of having the intermediary central bank getting involved, which sounds okay with me. And it sounds good to many other people here in the United States, just not the... Well, we have a name for them now. We call them basically Marxists, societal Marxists. That's what we call them, societal Marxists. So Mr. Biden's administration was a societal Marxist, or a Marxist lifestyle. That's what they wanted to be, is a Marxist. That's why they're so angry at Russia, is that they're Marxist versus the old Soviet Marxists have different opinions. That's why they get along so well with the Chinese. They like Marxism. Marxism is closed markets and closed businesses and not free markets and free people. It's the opposite. So that's why Bitcoin has a lot of support with free people and free markets and capitalism, allowed to people to decide on their own, not by mother government. That's what it comes down to. That's what we're really looking at here every day. And I mean, in other words, that's what this index, this product, is saying and what it's doing. So from there, we now will jump over directly to the actual pairs trades, unless someone wants to see something through the eyes of our mathematics. And or if you would like to see something through the eyes of our mathematics, just put it up on the chat line and we'll show you what it looks like through our math, which is the most accurate math I can find so far when looking at market predictions. All right, let's put the euro up on there, and you can see euro, I think it went into the daily buy a couple days ago. You can see that it popped up here, and it's trying. Let's widen it out for you a little bit to make it look easier. You see it's popped up there, closed with the histogram above the zero line, and a green dot, healthy, and you can see it tried to back off. It didn't work. Tried to back off today. And you're seeing just a little weakness here, nothing major, but just a little weakness. And you can see we're still in that weekly sell, and so we're still on that road of the strong dollar, the weak euro overall, and it shows the influence of what's going on globally. And that's because we are a global market. We're not at this point, pretty much all the central banks dance to the tune of the Federal Reserve, so it's really confuses things. I mean, they've really screwed things up. That's for sure. In other words, they're very inefficient, very confusing. They always want to. I guess you could say. I guess an example of it is the situation in Hong Kong with Jimmy Lowe and. He went to court yesterday. I think yesterday I mentioned that they sentenced 45 people to like 10 years in prison or life in prison because they believe in freedom. They believe in free commerce and freedom and free points of view, and Chinese government is against that. It's what interferes with the Bitcoin every day, is that those who believe against people having their own opinion and their own ideas. And so and if this is the way these people want to live over there, then I guess that's the way they're going to live. But we have Hong Kong trying to be a global financial center, which was a global financial center under the rule of Great Britain. But now that it's ruled by China, they keep on locking people up and giving people problems, and basically we've seen, what do they call it, when something goes bankrupt and it gets in the receivership, and it's just, the whole place is falling apart because the Chinese are trying to influence it, and they don't want any other influence but their own. And you can see how that works out. So just by what we physically see of China every day and the things they do with their money and the markets and their people. All right, so there is the euro, and the euro is having its issues. You can see it's bouncing off of one of those Fibonacci lines that we've been watching for a couple years. Who knows where it came from the beginning? I guess we could squeeze it and try to figure out where that came from, where it started from. What were we watching? I would assume it was part of the Brexit situation a couple years back, and people talked about it, and you can see how accurate it has been. It bounces off the areas here. It plays this one, it blew through it, then bounces the next day underneath it, then tries to lift up, fails, comes back and tests it. You can see how it orbits around these numbers in these Fibonacci sequence. And when you commingle our mathematics with the Fibonacci sequence, you find that it enhances, it's ahead of the Fibonacci sequence. So our math is ahead of Fibonacci, which is fascinating since Fibonacci is considered one of the more interesting mathematical configurations, I guess you could say, in human history. It follows many different things throughout our known world and universe. We see spirals of galaxies functioning in the same function or same manner, so forth and so on. And our math is ahead of it, which is really neat. So, what else can we say about the euro? I guess if nothing else, it's sitting on that fib sequence there. And I think it's, I want to say, since that's the 3/8, this is on the way down from some top. We probably did something. That's why I missed J4X. I really missed J4X because I think I can, let me do it over here with Yahoo. And we'll put the euro in there like that. And let's move it back over to here. Let's see, let's go to there. Let's take this big, broad view. We'll do 1 year right there, like so. That's 1 year. Let's go with all. Take a while. I guess I should go like that. 1 year there, 5 years there. So we probably took the historic low there, and I probably Fibonacci'd it to there, to one of the historic highs. That's not even the historic high. Let's see if we can get an all. It's calculating it now. I would think that I think the all-time high in Fibonacci is in the 160s. I think it's something like that. So the best it's doing is here. So I think what we did is we took this high and this low and we Fibonacci'd it. And I think that's what we're looking at there. There's the 3/8. Let's see. Let me just squeeze this tighter and see if we can find where it started. See, there is July of 23. So that's there. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's widen it again. There we go. Finally did it. Now I could have sworn the all-time high was a little bit higher. There's 21. And I think that's got to as high as 26, I thought. Now it says 22. Could have sworn we've seen a higher. Let's see what advanced chart does. But I believe that the all-time high is so much higher. And if anybody out there is trading with J4X right now, if you could take a look, that would be great. Because I could have sworn it got up to 1.6 or 1.5 at one time. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it only got to 126. Nothing seems to be happening here. I guess maybe I have to pick a time frame. Maximum raise data range. See if like that. No. See, it goes back. Oh, I see what's going on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. See that? And let's see if I move that. There. Oh. Right there. There is 158 all-time high, 159. I thought it got up to right around there. So more than likely, we took the low of the Brexit situation, 98 and change or 96 and change. And what was that? Let's just show you. Okay, right there. So we're looking at 96 and change, I believe it was. And we took that all-time high of 159 or 160 and Fibonacci'd it just to see how it would act, because a lot of people are watching that stuff. And that is the story, basically, traders. The at this point, the pressure is on other currencies, and the dollar is slowly being bought because they figured it's going to be Qualcomm positive on Trump chip sales growth. I think Qualcomm's going to try to buy Intel. That's on the tape there. And it would make sense. Intel has always been kind of trapped in a lower price range than everybody expects, and Qualcomm has very competitive chips, more than workhorse chips, I guess, I would say. All right. So let's go back to the euro and the different pairs trades. And let's go to GBP. And there's GBP. And it's got into the buy there yesterday. Let's steal one of these buys. Right there, it closed in the buy yesterday. Let's check the spreadsheet. I guess it was a red and green yesterday. That's what it was when I was taking the numbers. So you can see here it says 7 still, but to me, if we widen this out, let's see, like so, you see the red and green disappeared by the end of nighttime trading, and it closed with just the green, which pushed it into the buy, which is now going to be a second day of buy. So let me just go over to the other computer as we speak, and I'll just fix that. This way, at least I have it correct. Correct. Time, thing, and save. There we are. All right, now from there, cable, we take a look at. Let's just move that up like that. There we are. And interesting is the day before that we had the red and the green. So we're really starting to warn us that there's some action coming. Maybe we'll see it move up into this area. It's hard to say. I think there's a lot of pressure on pairs trades across the planet because the dollar is holding its interest rate, giving a decent return, talk of lower taxation, and growth at the same time. So it makes it awful hard to want to be invested in it's awful hard not to be invested in the United States. That's what it comes down to. All right, and from there we'll go to the inflation fighters, the Swiss. You see it's trapped inside this range that we figured would occur after we got up to the top of the box and started to show some strength, and sure enough it's playing inside of it, and we're in weekly buys, and that's why we had a comfortable feeling that it was going to do that. We let the math do the math, and we just watch. That's pretty much what it comes down to. But it's always interesting to watch it do it magically on its own. I guess you would call it metaphysical. There's a great, I know I'll deviate a little bit here, but there's a lot of great, it's not magic, it's a metaphysical nature since we're an educated global community. But what it comes down to is the metaphysical side is an answer, or let's say it's a label, to things we don't understand but seem to reoccur over and over again and have a mathematical foundation, but we don't understand exactly why it has that consistency. And that's how I developed my mathematics back in the 70s when there were just mainframes and using a mainframe out of Hatfield. And and so in the end result, that's the story basically, is that we're seeing buying going on in the dollar off and on with nibbling here and there. On lows they step up and buy it again. And so we're not, we're in a situation now where I think I used it yesterday, something about the America is the engine and the world is the train cars themselves, and America kind of pulls the world along. At times the train engine doesn't run so well, like under the Biden years, and then under the Trump years it runs much better and the world is a lot happier for it, and that type of thing. And usually anybody who believes in free markets and free people and doesn't hinder them the world is a better place for it. And when you do the opposite, it's more of a dictatorship. So that's why the Marxists in our country are Marxist people who have been running the country for 4 years have a uncomfortable thing there. They don't like free thought and free people. They like people to kind of agree with them. If they don't agree with them, they find it alien. It's one size fits all. It's like the old Soviet Union. Just make a couple different shoe sizes and everybody will fit into them. Saying, clothing, food, so forth. Just make a limited amount and everybody will learn how to live that way. People don't want to learn how to live that way. People just want to live. So that's what we see in the currency action. We're seeing people nibble on the dollar when you would think that they wouldn't be nibbling on dollar, but they see better returns, better opportunity, and that's what they're doing. Doesn't count out other countries. If they want an open economy and growth, then you'll see their currency go up just as well as anybody else's. Innovation, free will, all that wonderful stuff that makes the world go round, really. All right, from there we'll go to the yen, and there is the yen. You can see it's still having its issues. Last couple of days it was moving down, gaining against the dollar right here, and now it's doing the opposite. It's trying to lift back up again, and you can see it's trying to climb into a buy here. And at the same time, we knew, because by looking at the weekly, it's telling us that the weakness is a place to buy. Just wait for the next buy signal. That's what it comes down to. And from there we'll go over to the Great Experiment. I saw a great headline. The former Prime Minister, President of Turkey, Aragon, like in the spider in Harry Potter, Aragon, and basically he is now saying, hey, we could do some negotiations with the hostages in Gaza. Didn't know there were hostages in Gaza. How about that? The world only talks about something else. But anyway, now all of a sudden, and the headline was, let me see if we can find that headline. You'll love it. Let's see where we at here. Right there. I'll find that headline in a second. And it said something like, where was it at? It has Aragon's picture. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I think it was in Zero Hedge. I should have saved it so you click right on it. But it was really great. All of a sudden he's like, maybe now that Trump is in, and Trump has all this power, all of a sudden it's like Aragon comes out and says, maybe we can help negotiate for the hostages in Gaza. Oh, is that why Israel's pounding the shit out of them? Because they're holding hundreds of people hostage. Oh, what a good reason. Exactly. Oh, wow. They just put out a $1.3 million. Netanyahu says Israel offers $1.3 million reward for each hostage freed. Free Gaza. Yeah. How about that? Far out, huh? Where is Aragon? Aragon, it seems like that seems to have disappeared. Let me look for it a little bit more. Because I thought that would be well worth it, because their currency is not exactly the best currency around. And the headline was very cute. It said something like, what a different day Trump makes for Aragon. And I thought that was really good. It cracked me up. Well, I don't see the headline anymore. Instead, I see the headline $1.4 million for a hostage. Any hostage for $1.4 million. Easy peasy, right? Go in there and get them. You can have them. I wonder if the next one will say, it won't say dead or alive. It should have said, I have to read the article. But anyhow, that is the story. And you can see the Turkish lira doing its best to lift up. It's finding a bottom. It's been in a weekly buy now for 9 weeks. We haven't seen that in 3.5 years, which is really cool. I'm assuming more, again, because of the weakness of the euro, because this is the euro Turkish lira pairs trade. It's showing more strength because the euro is having its issues. As much as it's the second most active currency in the world and the second largest economy in the world, I know everybody wants to pretend China is, but it's not. That's why it has a currency and China doesn't have a currency. It has a conversion indicator or conversion formula. So in other words, you want to buy something from China, you pay X amount of yuan. And the People's Bank of China every day sets that, and it's linked to the dollar, which is always confusing me every day, since they want to be the lead currency in the world. How do you become the lead currency in the world if you're locked your currency to? You got to first take those training wheels off of that bicycle and learn how to ride with just the 2 wheels, not the 4. So the yuan is fixed to the dollar by the People's Bank of China, so I don't understand how any good economist and financier can pretend that they are who they are, more than just some angry American colony, it seems like to me. All right, and from there, now we'll go look at metals right there. There's the South African Rand. You can see it's trying to do a little downwardly slope thing. Let's move that right there like that now. It's got that downwardly push. It's up a little bit today. And you can see the last 3 days it's been in a sell, which is usually bullish for the metals market. Would be nice to see the weekly drop into a sell instead of a weekly buy for the last 5 weeks. And that would really put some energy into gold. So let's take, and silver and so forth. So let's go take a look at gold. There's right there. And you can see the same, like the mirror reflection in reverse. It's going up for the last couple of days. Today it's stalled a little bit, just kind of quiet. 3rd day in a buy, a couple of weeks in the sell. It's just not really getting a lot of traction. Let's put it that way. It's, now that we're clear on who's running the government, it'll be very good to see how, things roll, basically. Would you believe we're counting votes still? It's 15 days after the election, and they're still playing around putting illegal ballots in. These Democrats, they should, their title should be, it's not who votes, it's who counts votes. That's what it comes down to. They just keep on trying to count votes that don't exist. It is weird. 15 days after the election, and they're still playing around with that stuff. And then let's go over to take a look at silver. And there's silver. Silver doing the same thing. It's lifted up the last couple of days, showing some strength. You saw we had a little red and green right there. So we got a little pop out of it. But we're in that weekly sell now for a 3rd week there. A lot of pressure on it still. That's, and then people are moving towards the, cryptos, obviously. Especially with a friendly crypto government, Trump and the Republicans believe in free markets and free people. So that automatically makes the cryptos a good tool. All right, and then from there we'll take a look at copper, which always is like staring at there's the election, and you can see the wildness that went on from that. And there's copper, and it's in a 1/3 of a day of a buy, 3 days now, but still in a weekly sell also. Okay, last metal we'll look at will be platinum. You can see we had that green and red again right there. You see the strength trying to kick up. And let's see, what else can we say? It's just in a 4-week sell too. The nice thing is, look at the distance it's climbed from its high to low. This is an interesting thing. Is the high was 1064, and the low was 932, 1064. So it's 132 points. And now it's at 75. Let's see what the high was right there. 32. So it moved up basically 50 points. So little more than 1/3, really, I guess you could say. Matter of fact, we could just do the Fibonacci right there like this. And then do it to the other two products. You see it's gotten up basically to 1/3. And then you can see how our math basically told us something was coming before it did. Now let's look at silver and see how much it has gained since coming off its highs of this action. So it got up to the 1/3 also, right there. Not bad. So pretty much marching about the same. And then we take a look at gold the same way. There it is. Same situation. All climbed up to the 1/3 area off the bounce. Cool, huh? All right. From there, we're going to go march over to the energy sector and see what they're doing this morning. I saw a headline said that natural gas was at something like a 5-year low or 4-year low out in the west coast of the United States. That's interesting. All right, let's shoot over to the beta. This way we can start right off with Brent. BZ. Right there. And there is Brent up a little bit more today. You see it's in a buy for a few days here now, 3 days. And you can see the weekly is trying to pierce into the weekly buy also at the same time. So we are seeing some pressure on the the upside there. And then let's see. Let me just go where's that platinum? I want to get rid of that Fibonacci thing there so I don't confuse anybody. All right, there you go. So you got it climbed up 2 days ago, and here our third day. It's still in the buy, not letting go, and we got a weekly generating a buy here. And we are, see, that was there, so it was a sell. And at the same time, it climbed into the buy. So last Friday, it climbed into the sell with it in a sell. And then it jacked it. So you can see there was probably a loss for us. And then now it's been in the buy, and it's through the weekly buy at the moment right here. Once it gets, these lines get through the manifold, it really confirms that the buy is coming. So you don't want to be short, that's for sure. And you're licking your wounds from the last great successful win. You know, remember that right there alone made more than what it gave up there, and that's for sure. And that's how this math always works. It will, every time you have a loss in it, it will make more than it loses. Every time. And in a sequence of trades like that. All right, where do we go from here? Let's go to West Texas Intermediate. Sweet crude always sound, they call it sweet crude in Texas. I always think, boy, do you drink it? Is it tasty? Same situation here. It pushed into the sell on Friday, and then boom, back into the buy the last couple days. And it's trying to climb into the weekly buy right there, as you see at the moment, just on the edge. Let's see, what is that? Plus 0.029999. That's the Texas or U.S. oil. So we're seeing some strength come into them. And then we'll go take a look at heating. Oh, let's go take a look at nat gas. Because nat gas, supposedly is coming off of a bottom, I guess, at this point. They said it was down some lows. Now, what's interesting is that the contract in New York has made its low back on November 4th and has been climbing ever since. But the actual delivery up on the Pacific coast seems to be much lower and is now just starting to bottom. Interesting. See a couple days in a daily buy. And you can see here's the weekly buy. It jumped up right at the beginning of the week. It jumped right up into it, and you saw that strength. So the sell that you had right there, basically another day. I guess you had a loss there, and then you're out of it here, and now it's trying to put you into the buy, and we'll see how far it goes up to make up the loss of that. All right, and then, wrong there. So from there, we go over to heating oil, which heats the engines on those airplanes in the sky and big trucks on the highways. It's diesel fuel or kerosene or grade 3 or whatever you want to call it. We call it heating oil here in the States. We also call it diesel, and we also call it kerosene. We name it a lot of things, but they're basically all the same, just a little more refined or a little less refined. And let's put it up on the screen here. Right. Let's see, December. I guess we're doing January now, aren't we? We should be doing January. I got to change that out. All right, we'll switch it soon. And so you can see here, same situation. I have January on the other machine. Let me just take a look and see what the Jan shows. Did it have it? Yeah, it had to sell on that last Friday. And then it went into the buy yesterday. And you can see it's trying to get into the buy here. You get the fast already breaking the manifold. So there seems to be some strength. There's it's coming. There's a storm coming down the center of the United States. And we're getting this Arctic drop. And so, the prices will go up a little bit just because people need it to heat their houses. Which I saw one of the German ministers, or maybe it was the minister for European Union, basically say that they're going to start importing from the United States in January. So, that'll help out. That'll help out Europe. I saw, where was it? Austria had a record snowfall back in September, and there's been record snow temperatures. So you're not getting your global warming there, you're getting your global cooling there. And the United States, we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing global cooling, not global warming. But the environmentalists keep on trying to convince us that there's a global warming coming. And I could say pretty comfortably that with the North Pole and the South Pole getting ready to flip any month now, or any year now, basically, so the North Pole will all of a sudden, when you're holding a compass, all of a sudden the South Pole will be the North Pole and the North Pole will be the South Pole. At the same time, they're moving. The North Pole has moved about 2,000 miles into Siberia, and it's heading for the Indian Ocean. And the South Pole is about 1,600 miles north now, moving towards Australia, cutting across South America, and the new Antarctica will be, or the new South Pole will be across from Brazil, basically. So about the same distance where I live. So I don't really mind. It's the North Pole and the South Pole will be the North Pole will be the same distance, is the same distance that the new North Pole will be. So the new North Pole will be across from, I guess, Brazil. Yeah, Brazil. So it'll be the same distance, just in the opposite direction, that's all. And that is that. I don't usually talk about that stuff too much, but the energy sector is a mirror, or let's say a image of what's going on. All right, from there, that's why we need somebody that believes in math and science, not in spiritual concepts like that COPE 29 that made no sense. All right. Let's see. Where do we go from here on the energies? Oh, let's go to Spain. And that Spanish company is voting with its feet. It shows you that it's, going down in value because they expect the prices to come down. Because we have free markets and free people. It'll jump out here somewhere. EM. I need to write the name of it. There it is right there. It's blank. There we go. Now it's been moving up last couple days, you can see that there's some strength. Last 2 days, the histogram's been minus, and let's just see what this has done with it. And outside range down, but closed a little bit higher. Trading a little bit higher today. Trapped in an inside range at the moment. And you can see we've been in weekly sells now for like 7 weeks or so. 8 weeks, something like that. It's been moving down for a while. And that's because prices are going to come down. Because we're going to do more production again. Since we know that this has no influence on our weather and our, the CO2 in the air, and it has no influence on the, what's that layer up above the ionosphere? That the ozone layer, it has no influence on the ozone layer either. The ozone layer keeps on getting bigger and bigger, and we keep on reducing our production. So something doesn't match there. It's supposed to go the other way around. Reduce production, reduce the ozone hole. It hasn't worked whatsoever. And I follow NASA maps from NASA, not NASA maps from environmental groups, because they whitewash them. One day, next time I see one whitewashed, I'll show it to you. I'll put it up on the screen. You'll be like, "What?" I think I did that once too. I think I showed you on the webinar a NASA map released. They get released every month of global temperatures, and then you put the environmental movement. They take the same map and they CAD cam it or something. They change the colors in it, so it doesn't match up to the NASA map, but it says NASA on it. Yeah, crazy kids they are. All right, from there we'll jump over to let's see, where do we go? Let's go take a look at some of the global indexes. We got about 6-7 minutes, so let's see what's going on there. We'll take a look at Tokyo. Where's Tokyo? Right there. There's the Nikkei. Kind of just sloppy. It's 3 weeks in a buy, and it just doesn't want to get into a long on the daily. So you're stuck in neutral in that product right now. For weeks now, we're stuck in a neutral. Especially since, like, all the way out to, let's give it a refresh. There you go. Since the 10th. Today is the 20th. So 10 days it's been telling us just to be flat. Okay, next we go over to, let's go to Singapore. Not Singapore, I'm sorry. Let's go to Hong Kong. We'll see, not Hong Kong, one more time. We'll try it one more time. Let's go to Shanghai, to China. It's a same size economy as Japan. And you can see here, it's also 4 weeks in a buy. They keep on looking for that sugar high. And for like the last, I guess since what is that? That's the 11th. Right there, it's been telling us don't look for a bump. And you can see it's been going down. Let's make it bigger so you can see that. Right there, it says don't look for the bump. Right there. It's been going down. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, if they had only plowed in, say, if the communists would have done a 5-year plan that was more, much bigger, say 10 times bigger. Then, I believe it needs to be between 25 and 30 trillion won to do a stimulus to the Chinese economy. They think it's only 2.5 trillion. They're way off count. So they just don't have the money to stimulate their economy. That's the problem. They've dedicated it to the war machine. All right. That's what you get. We always used to say the choice between gun and butter. And they have chosen guns. From there, we'll go take a look at Taiwan, the chip capital of the world. Oh, you can see 4 weeks in a sell here. Looks like it's getting very close to get into a buy on a weekly right there. and it's been, let's see, when did it sell? Where, right, on the 1st of November. So I guess there's the first. It went into the very odd situation here. You can see that. Let's refresh it again. You got it in a daily buy. So the daily on on October 31st went into the buy. Okay, there it is right there, October 3rd. Let me just double check that there again. Yeah, so went into the buy here, and you couldn't be short, but you're in weekly shorts. And sure enough, it rallied up, kept you safe. And now, on the 12th, it went into a sell right there. And so you could basically short and make all that money because it's in the weekly sell. Again, good example of just follow the math consistently, and you will be always above. Let's say that again. If you consistently follow the math all the time, your trading will keep you plus way more than minus in your P&L. Follow the math. All right. From there, we go over to, let's see what South Korea is doing. There's the Kospi. Yeah, see, it's doing the same thing as Taiwan. Weekly sells. So there was your winner chicken dinner. Told you to scream somewhere's in here to take your profit. It's tried to go up for the last couple of days. You can see it's in the daily buy, but still in that weekly sell. It's in a neutral position now. From there, we zip over to, let's see. Let's take a look at Hong Kong. Let's see how they're dealing with all those business people being thrown in jail. Business people thrown in jail. What is that all about? Just because you believe in free speech and free commerce, you're being thrown in jail? What's up with those people? Let's see, Hong Kong, right there. See, I got to put their names in like that. That makes it easier. And you see, same thing here. Hong Kong's been doing the same thing as Taiwan and Kospi and so forth. Been in a weekly sell for a while. When it goes into a buy here, you're just not short, but you can be short there and make a little money. You can be short. Where is it? Right there on the. There's a couple. I guess it'd be right there, the 7th. So it pushes you into the sell right here, and it's been in a sell all along that, and that makes you profitable. What a unique idea. Be profitable. I like that. Next one. Nobody has an interest in seeing anything particular? I'd gladly put it up there for you. If not, I'll just go look at something else. All right, now let other stock indices. Let's go see what the Singapore Straits Times is doing. See, they knew, Hong Kong knew that the stimulus from the communists weren't going to be enough. So they're they're probably reeling, dealing with that situation where they've locked up 45 businessmen and women that believe in free speech and free markets. So that's not a lot of fun there. Tough to do business at the end of a bayonet. Now here, Singapore, I always think they have to be totally wired in and have a good idea what's going on. Now, obviously, you can see it went into the weekly buy and the daily buy back in here and caught that nice bump up. And then you try to get into a sell. Matter of fact, it hasn't gone. It's been in a buy since the 31st. It's been in a buy since here, and it hasn't even seen a sell. So, there's always talk that every time the communists do something to Hong Kong, it only benefits Singapore, because Singapore just moves into that position of being the free market, free people center of finance. That's why, they used to trade the Nikkei futures contract. More volume was in Singapore than there was in Osaka, where the futures exchange was, in Japan. So Singapore really shows that it's a free market, free people place, Alrighty, from there, where do we go from there? Let's go over to, let's see what Jakarta's been up to. We haven't seen Jakarta in about a week. Let's see what they're doing there. Unfortunately, they're on that strange place on the planet, the Ring of Fire. Was it the Wallace line? They're very strange things to talk about. I'm not going to get involved in them right here, right now, because you'll really think I'm out of my mind. But that's Jakarta. I understand they're starting to build their cities, move their cities, actually move them higher up in ground, because that's a very physical, strange place. Matter of fact, you know those warning buoys they put out there? NOAA, the United States, puts out warning buoys for keeping, for looking for, hurricanes and tsunamis and things like that. And in this case here, they had to remove them because they just get all kinds of weird readings from them all the time, because the ground is always sinking and popping back up and sinking again. It's almost like it's floating. So, let's see. You can see it's been moving down, Jakarta. It's been in a weekly sell for a good 4 weeks now, since the closing week of the 1st, end of October. You see right there, it went into a sell and stayed in that sell. There's the 5th. What is that? Where's the 5th? Stayed in the sell for a while. It's been in the sell for a long while. There's November 5th. There's November 11th. So it was stayed in the sell there. Still in the sell. Still in the sell. What is that date right there? That's the 12th. All right. So it's jumped into a daily buy for 2 days, and still hasn't. It's still not in the sell, but the histogram broke down. It seems to have come into a neutral position at this point. It keeps on throwing out green dots, telling us to just be neutral at the moment. So it's been that way for like a week now. But it was a really great trade, It fell down from the 7,780. Call it 7. Let's do 777. It's really 7787, but 777 is easy to remember. And it's traded all the way down to 7118. So 777. So it dropped to like 660 points. It's a big, nice win. Winner, chicken dinner. All right, traders. We're going to give you a quick look of what we've been watching. How the DAX has been having its issues. Let's see if we can find it real quick here. There's the DAX. We'll skip the other two that we usually do. We've run out of time here. You see, the DAX is just not getting that much of a lift. A small lift, but a very weak one in weekly sells here. So, and we'll show you the FTSE, and then we're out of here. There's the FTSE. FTSE's trying to lift, and you can see the weeklies, though, are still in weekly sells for like 5 weeks. But it's trying to lift. It's been in a daily buy for 4 days now. All right, traders, we're out of here. Catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading day. Ta-ta for now.